The lights were dim. The air was heavy. Smells of oil, rust, and sadness filled the space station's lower market. People walked slowly, looking at cages, scanning tags, checking prices. It wasn't a place for shopping, it was a place for owning. This was the Black Ring slave market, where aliens were sold like machines. Some were strong workers, others had rare skills. But all of them had something humans wanted, all. Except her. She sat quietly in the corner cage, her back against the cold metal bars. One of her legs was missing below the knee, replaced with a wooden stick, badly tied. Her skin was pale blue, dirty with dust. A small horn on her forehead was cracked. One eye was swollen. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. Her name was Lena, or at least, that's what she thought. She wasn't sure anymore that she had been here for 7 days. People came, looked at her, and walked away. Sometimes they laughed. One child even pointed and said, "That one's broken," and pulled her mother's hand to keep moving. Lena didn't react. She was used to it now. Today was different though. The speakers buzzed above her, and a rough voice called out, "All slaves to the line. Auction begins in 10 minutes. The cages opened with a loud click. Metal arms pushed the captives out. One by one. Lena limped to the line, standing behind a large green alien with metal arms and ahead of a red-scaled girl with sharp teeth. The auctioneer walked in. He wore a long black coat and shiny boots. His face was part human, part machine. One red glowing eye scanned the line. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice loud and cheerful, "welcome. Today, we have strong laborers, smart translators, even a warrior from Delta 4. Let's begin." Crowd cheers, one by one. The aliens were called forward. Lot 101. Arm strength 500 pounds, can lift cargo ships, starting bid, 500 credits. Sold. Lot 102. Rare language brain, can speak over 150 dialects. Sold. Lena waited. She could feel her heartbeat. Or maybe not. She wasn't sure if she even had one left. Then, the auctioneer paused. He looked at her and laughed. "And now," he said, voice dripping with sarcasm, "Lot 110. What do we have here? A one-legged alien girl? No special skills, no memory. No use." Some in the crowd chuckled. Others looked away. Uncomfortable. Lena took a breath. She stepped forward. "I want only one thing," she said quietly. The auctioneer raised an eyebrow. "She speaks?" Lena spoke louder. "I don't want money. I don't want freedom. I just want a prosthetic leg." A silence fell. "A leg?" Someone in the crowd laughed. "She wants a leg?" Another voice, "She's broken. Just throw her away." Not even good for experiments. Lena stood still. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She just waited. The auctioneer shook his head. "No bids. Let's move on." Then the crowd shifted. A figure stepped into the ring. Quiet boots. Long coat, human male. Face half hidden by a hood. He didn't speak. He walked slowly toward Lena, stopping just a few feet away. The auctioneer frowned. "Sir, are you here for bidding?" The man said nothing. He raised one hand and pointed at Lena. "You want to buy her?" He nodded. "Name your price." The man pulled out a card. Full medical credit. Enough for one advanced prosthetic. The auctioneer blinked. "You're serious?" The man said calmly, "She asked for a leg. Give her a leg." Lena stared at him. Her body shook, just a little. Someone whispered in the crowd, "Why her? Why waste credits on that?" But no one said anything louder. Something about the man's presence was different, dangerous, calm, but firm. The auctioneer cleared his throat. "Fine. Lot 110. Sold." Metal cuffs unlocked. The man took Lena's hand gently. She looked up at him, still unsure. "Why?" she asked. He looked at her. His voice was low, almost kind. Because you're not broken. You're just not finished yet. He turned and walked with her out of the market. The crowd watched them go. Confused, silent. And behind them, the auctioneer scratched his head and muttered, "He's going to regret that." The ship was silent. No lights, no noise, only the soft hum of the engine, like a sleeping animal deep in the dark. Lena sat near the window, staring into space. Stars passed by slowly. She had never seen them like this before, so close, yet so far. She didn't speak. Not yet. She didn't know if it was safe to speak. The man who bought her was sitting across the room, fixing something. He had taken off his hood. His face was quiet, sharp, older than she expected. One long scar ran from his temple to his neck, like a cut that had never healed. She didn't know his name. She only knew that he had saved her. Or had he? Lena's new leg, metal, smooth and shining, was attached only an hour ago. It moved better than she expected. But still, she didn't trust it. Or him. Is this a transport ship? She finally asked. The man looked up. Cargo class, type V, fast, unregistered. You're not a trader? No. Lena waited for more, but he went back to his work. She stood up slowly, testing the leg. It responded well. Better than her old one. Why did you buy me? She asked. He didn't answer right away. Then, you asked for a leg, that's all. But no one helps without reason. He looked at her eyes, calm, unreadable. You were the only one not begging, he said. Everyone else was selling strength, talent, smiles. You asked for one thing, to stand. Lena stayed quiet. She didn't know what to say. Who are you? She asked. He paused. Then, finally, name's Ray. And you're not a slave buyer? No. Then what are you? He looked at her again, this time longer. His voice dropped low. Someone who used to believe people couldn't change. But I'm trying again. That confused her. But before she could ask more, a red light flashed on the control panel. Ray stood up fast and walked to the screen. Trouble? Lena asked. He didn't answer. She walked slowly to him, looking over. His shoulder. On the screen, surveillance drone detected. Tracking. Slave ID. 110. Her ID. They're looking for me, she whispered. Ray nodded. I was hoping we had more time. Who's looking? He looked at her. You don't remember, do you? She blinked. Remember what? Where you came from. What they did to you. She shook her head slowly. I just remember pain, lights, voices, tests, then nothing. Ray moved quickly to a locker. He pulled out a small silver box and handed it to her. What is this? She asked. He spoke slowly. Something they put inside you. You don't remember because they didn't want you to. She opened the box. Inside was a small crystal chip, pulsing faintly with blue light. This was inside me? Ray nodded. It was tracking you, sending signals. Not anymore. I disabled it. Lena stared at the chip, horrified. You bought me to turn me off? No, he said firmly. I bought you to set you free. She didn't know whether to believe him. Who are they? She asked. The ones who were tracking me? He turned away. They're the same people who broke you. Same people who made you. Same people who'll kill you if they find you again. Lena felt a cold fear in her chest. Then why did you save me? Ray paused. The ship turned slightly, stars shifting outside the window. Because, he said. At last, you're not who they say you are. She looked up. And who am I? Ray turned to her, serious. You were made for something terrible. But something inside you refused. That's why they tried to erase your mind. And that's why they're hunting you. Silence. Lena stepped back. So I'm dangerous? Ray nodded once, to them. A long moment passed between them. Then Lena whispered, What happens now? Ray looked at the stars. Now, he said, we run. The nightmare started the second night. Lena screamed, but no sound came out. Her body twisted in the thin bed of the ship's sleeping cabin. Her hands reached for something that wasn't there. Chains, maybe. Needles. A light above her, too. Bright, too white. She wasn't on the ship anymore. She was somewhere cold. Metal walls. Voices shouting. Begin phase 9. She's waking up. Inject her again. Lena gasped and sat up, sweating. Her heart pounded. She didn't know what time it was. The stars outside looked the same as before. She didn't scream. Not out loud. But Ray heard her. He opened the door slowly, his voice quiet. You remembered something? She didn't answer. She just stared at her hands, shaking. I don't know if it's real, she said softly, or if they put it in my head. Ray stepped inside the room and sat across from her. Tell me. I saw a room, metal floor, bright light. They were doing something to me. She touched her temple gently. Here, I feel like something was in my head. Not just the tracker. Something deeper. Ray didn't look surprised. They tried to erase you, he said. Not just your memories, your mind. Lena looked at him, eyes wide. Why? He hesitated. Then. Because you knew something they didn't want you to remember. She stood up, angry. But I don't remember it. I don't know who I am, or where I'm from, or what I did. What's the point of saving someone who doesn't even exist anymore? Ray looked up at her calmly. You exist. That's why they're afraid. Of you. She froze. You think I'm dangerous? Ray stood now too, facing her. I think you were designed to be. But I also think you fought that. That's why they called you broken. That's why they left you behind. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small device, half broken, half alien tech. What is it? Lena asked. He pressed a button. A soft blue light lit the room. A hologram appeared in the air, grainy, broken, flickering. It was her. Lena, strapped to a chair, eyes wild. Her voice echoed in the room. I won't do it. I won't kill for you. Another voice replied, cold, human male. You were built to obey. You don't get to choose. Then static. The hologram died. Lena stared at the space where her past had just spoken. Her hands dropped to her sides. Her voice was just a whisper. Now that was me? Ray nodded. You resisted them, he said. They call it failure. I call it something else. She sat back down, legs weak. They made me into a weapon. But you refused to fire. Lena felt something stir inside. Her, not pain. Not fear. Something deeper. A question. Then. Who was I before they took me? Ray leaned against the wall. That's what we're going to find out. Lena looked up slowly. You're going to help me remember? I'm going to help you become someone new, he said. Not the weapon, not the slave. Something they can't control. But how? She asked. He gave her a small, crooked smile. By going where they're afraid to follow. Asterisk. The sky wasn't blue. It was purple, deep and quiet. Like the inside of a dream. Lena stood on the edge of a cliff, looking down at the glowing forest below. The trees were silver, their leaves shimmered like glass. Strange birds flew silently across the sky, leaving trails of light behind them. This planet didn't feel real, but it was. Ray stood behind her, scanning the area with a small device. This place is off-grid, hidden, no signals in, no signals out. What's it called? Lena asked. Ray shrugged. No name, no map. Just a ghost world. Lena took a deep breath. The air smelled clean. Too clean. Why bring me here? She asked. Because it's safe, Ray said. And because you're changing. Lena turned to him. What do you mean? He pointed to her hands. Show me. She hesitated. Then raised her palm. The air shimmered. A soft pulse of blue light flickered at her fingertips, small, but alive. It danced like mist, then faded. She looked shocked. What is that? Memory, Ray said. Not just of the mind, of the body. They put something inside you, Energy, tech, biology, all mixed. I didn't know I could do that. You couldn't, not until we removed the limiter. Lena stepped back, looking at her hands. I'm part machine? You're something new, Ray said, and that scares them. He handed her a small tablet. Look, on the screen, a file, her face. Her ID, stamped with a red label. Failed weapon, decommissioned. They erased you from records, Ray said, but not from memory. Some still remember what you were meant to become. Lena looked up. And they're still looking? Ray nodded. They'll never stop, unless we stop them first. Lena narrowed her eyes. How? Ray tapped the screen, bringing up a map, a base. Orbiting near a dead moon. That's where. They made you, where others like you still sleep. There are others. Dozens, maybe more. Not all survived. But the ones who did, they're still in stasis, waiting, forgotten. And you want me to wake them? Ree's voice turned hard. No, I want you to destroy the place, burn their program down. End what they started. Lena looked at the sky. So calm, so far from that kind of violence. I'm not ready. She said, You have 5 days, Ray replied. They'll find this planet by then, and when they do, they won't come to talk. She nodded slowly. Then we fight. He paused. No, you fight. I'll stay here. I can't go where you're going. Why not? Ree's voice went quiet. Because I've already been there. Lena stared at him. You were one of them? She asked. Ray turned away. I was one of the builders, the program, the lab. I helped create the system that broke you. Silence. I left when I saw what they were doing. I couldn't stop it, but I can help you destroy it. Lena's voice was ice. And what if I don't want to be your redemption? Ray met her eyes. Then walk away. I won't stop you. A long pause. Then Lena looked at the horizon. No. She said, if I walk away, someone else becomes the next test subject. She turned back toward the glowing forest. Her new leg steady. Her hands glowing just a little brighter now. I'll do it, she said. Ray nodded. Then you'll need to remember more. You'll need to unlock what's still hidden. Lena took a deep breath. I want to remember. Even if it hurts. The rain on the moon wasn't like Earth's. It was thin, silent, like dust falling through. Light. Lena stood outside the black facility doors. The broken logo of the lab still glowing faintly above. Hydron Systems, Bioclass, Omega Division. She didn't shake. Not anymore. This was the place where she was created. Or destroyed. Or maybe both. Ree's voice echoed in her ear through the cum. Are you inside? She touched her earpiece. Not yet. The door knows me. It's scanning. It still recognizes your DNA? She nodded. Looks like they never erased the original key. The door hissed open. Darkness waited inside, but this time, Lena walked in on her own. Inside, everything was silent. No guards. No machines. Only dim lights flickering and the soft hum of old machines still dreaming. She passed rooms with broken glass. Floating tanks filled with yellow water. Some were empty. Some weren't. Her breath caught in her throat. Bodies. Some like hers. Some half-finished. Some too damaged to even be called human. Or alien. But all had one thing in common. The same. Number burned into the glass. O-project. Weapon class. Status. Terminated. She moved on. Her new leg made no sound now. Her hands were steady, but her heart, it remembered. She stopped at a large metal door. It needed a code, but her hand, almost without thinking, reached out and touched the panel. The door opened. She didn't know the code, but the old Lena did. Inside the room, there was only one thing. A chair. Straps. And a helmet with wires still dripping fluid. Suddenly, her head ached. She fell to her knees. Her mind cracked. Open. Flashback. She was sitting in that same chair. Screaming. A voice spoke to her through the helmet. We built you for peace, but peace comes through control. Accept your mission." She screamed. Louder. "No, I don't want this." The voice again. "You are not a person. You are a program. You will be used. Or you will be erased." The pain, the light, the cold hands she had fought. Not with power, but with choice. She said no. And they had called her broken. Lena opened her eyes. She was back in the present, still on her knees. But something inside her had changed. She understood now. They didn't fear her strength. They feared her will. She stood slowly and looked around. Behind the chair, a hidden panel. She pulled it open. Inside was a metal box, glowing, a cube, small, simple, but dangerous. The label read, "Emergency Core Command Link to all O-Class units." Her voice was barely a whisper. "This is it." Ray spoke in her ear again. "Lena, are you okay? Talk to me." She held the cube in her hands. "I found it," she said. "The master key. This is how they controlled us." Ray was silent for a moment. "If you destroy it, the program dies. Forever." Lena stared at the cube, but another thought hit her. What if I don't destroy it? What if I use it to wake the others? Give them a choice? Ray's voice turned sharp. "It's too risky. They weren't like you. They didn't resist." Lena looked back at the tanks. Maybe they didn't resist because they were never given the chance. She clenched the cube tighter. "No," she said. "I won't destroy them, not yet." Lena, she cut the cum. This choice was hers, for the first time in her life. Completely hers. She turned and walked back through the dark halls, cube in hand, a quiet fire in her eyes. Outside, the silent rain kept falling, and far above the sky, a ship began to move, one that wasn't Ree's. They were coming, but this time, she would not run. She didn't feel the pain anymore. Not in her body. That part had grown strong, faster, sharper, but in her mind the war had just begun. Lena sat alone inside the ship, her fingers still wrapped around the glowing cube. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. Her heartbeat? Or someone else's? She didn't know anymore. The cube held more than commands. It held voices. Whispers. Not in the air. Inside her, she closed her eyes. And the voices came. Unit 017. You were designed to obey. Emotion is error. Compassion is failure. Complete your mission. She opened her eyes, gasping. "No," she said aloud. "I'm not your weapon." But something inside her disagreed. Suddenly alarm lights flashed red. The ship rocked violently. A blast shook the floor. "Impact detected," the computer said in a calm voice. "Boarding party inbound." Lena stood fast, heart pounding. She ran to the control room, her prosthetic leg clicking with power now, her body lit by red flashing lights. Through the window, a black dropship hovered nearby. No markings, no flags, only shadow. They had found her. Again. The side door blew open. Smoke poured in. And then she stepped out. Another girl. Same pale blue skin. Same horn. Same silver eyes, but no fear, only calm. And control. Lena froze. The girl looked just like her, but colder, cleaner. Her movements were robotic, perfect. Lena whispered, "Who are you?" The girl tilted her head. "I am 012. I did not fail." Lena's mind spun. One of the others had woken up, but not like her. Not free, still connected. Still obeying. "You should not exist," 012 said flatly. "You are corrupted, emotional, weak. I chose to be free. No, you chose to malfunction." They circled each other slowly, like mirrors. Lena's voice trembled. "We were made in the same lab." "We were not made equal," 012 said. "You resisted. I perfected." Then, she raised her hand. Blue energy sparked around her palm, just like Lena's, but brighter, hotter, controlled. "Lena, Barely dodged the first strike, the room exploded into light and fire. Battle. Two bodies. Same code. Different hearts. O-12. Moved with machine precision, every move clean. Calculated. Lena fought with instinct. With chaos. With feeling. And that made her unpredictable. O-12 paused for half a second, confused by Lena's wild attack. That was Lena's moment. She landed a hit, sending O-12 crashing into the wall. But she didn't finish her. Instead, Lena stepped back, breathing hard. "You don't have to follow them," she said. "You can break free." O-12 stood up, head tilted. "I do not wish to be free, because they programmed you to think that." "Or maybe," O-12 replied coldly, "I chose to be what I was built to be." That made Lena hesitate. What if freedom wasn't about fighting back? What if it was just choice? Even if the choice was to obey? Lena backed away. O-12 didn't chase her. "You are not finished," O-12 said. "You are afraid of your own power." Lena clenched her fists. "You're right, I am." She opened her hand and stared at the cube again. "It's not just a weapon," she whispered. "It's a door." O-12 watched her. "You can't save them all." Lena looked her dead in the eyes. "I don't need to. Just one is enough to start." Suddenly, Ree's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. "Lena, a second drop. Ship is coming. Bigger, heavily armed." She turned to the sky. "So it begins, the final wave, the full hunt. But this time." She wasn't running. The stars were on fire, not from beauty, from war. Flames danced across the upper sky as drop ships pierced through the clouds like falling knives. The ground trembled. Alarms echoed in the distance. Lena stood in the center of the forest clearing, the glowing cube in her hand, still warm, still alive. It pulsed faster now, as if it knew what was coming. She had a decision to make, not just for herself, but for the others, and for the future they would never see. Unless she chose right. Behind her, Ray limped toward her, burned and bleeding. "They're deploying ground units," he said. "You have minutes, maybe less." Lena didn't turn. "Then I need to decide now." Ray stood beside her. "You don't have to die to stop them." Lena looked at him, her eyes calm. "But I might have to live with myself if I don't." She looked down at the cube again. There were three options. Destroy it. The signal ends. The system dies. No more O-class units. But no one wakes. No freedom. Just silence. Use it. Wake them all. But the risk? Chaos. Some might choose peace. Others, war. Link to it. Merge. Take control. Become the central mind. But doing so might erase who she is. Each path had a cost. And no one could choose it but her. From the trees, O-12 stepped out again. Damaged but alive, watching. "You came to finish me?" Lena asked. "No," O-12 said. "I came to witness. You're not stopping me? You're the anomaly. They always feared you. I want to see why." Lena looked up at the burning sky, then back at the cube. Her voice barely a whisper. "I don't want to be a weapon." "You never were," Ray said softly. "That's why they failed." Lena knelt. She pressed the cube to her chest, and she closed her eyes. Flash. Her memories rushed in. The chair, the pain, the tests. The moment she said no, she saw other faces now. Others like her. Still sleeping, still waiting, but maybe, just maybe, they didn't need to be soldiers. Maybe they could be something more. Her voice, calm and clear, echoed into the sky. Let them choose. She linked. Light exploded from her body, blue, gold, silver. It rippled out like a heartbeat through the world, through the cube, through the sky. In orbit, every sleeping O-class unit opened their eyes. Some screamed, some cried, some smiled. But they were awake. Free. Lena collapsed to the ground. Her body burned with energy. Her mind nearly torn apart. Ray ran to her. Lena. She looked up at him, weak but alive. It's done, she said. They're awake. Ray held her tightly. You did it. She smiled faintly. No, they will do it now. In the distance, the army ships turned. Some powered down. Some dropped weapons. They didn't receive orders anymore. They received silence. And in that silence, a new kind of future began. 1 week later, a quiet planet. A small fire. Ray sat alone. A figure walked up behind him, metal leg. Soft footsteps. Miss me? Lena said with a smile. Ray turned, shocked. You're alive? Barely, but yeah. She sat beside him. They're still deciding. Some want peace. Some are angry, but at least now, they get to choose. He nodded. You could have taken control. You didn't. That was never the point, she said. We weren't made to lead or follow, just to be. Ray looked up at the stars. So, what now? Lena smiled. We stop running.